to pros and everything in between. It's Southern Middle Tennessee Sports Today. Live from the Lee Company studio. With the Hall of Famer Mo Patton, here's Chris Yao.
Welcome into a Thursday edition of Southern Middle Tennessee Sports Today, presented by Mid-Tennessee Bone and Joint. Glad to have you with us here as we are getting you ready for high school football tomorrow night. A little high school football tonight over at Nissan Stadium, Waverly and White House, as we've told you all week. Make sure to get out there if you have any. Apparently, all the free tickets online have been claimed. There will be a few free tickets at the walk-up, but they're only going to have fans on one side, which is probably okay. I mean, there's plenty of room. So
I think that'll be just fine.
Just fine.
Yeah.
So anyway, we're getting you ready for high school football throughout this entire show. We'll talk about each and every game in our coverage area. We got a lot of top stories. That means we just need to go ahead and get into it, Mo. What do you think? Let's do it. The rundown right now.
This is the Rundown. The Thursday Rundown is brought to you by Barry B. Coble with Crest Point Wealth Management. Barry B. Coble with Crest Point Wealth Management offers personalized wealth management strategies for clients based on where you are in your financial journey. Go see Barry at Crest Point Wealth Management at 700 North Main Street in Columbia. Securities offered through registered representatives of Cambridge Investment Research Incorporated, a broker-dealer member FINRA SIPC. Advisory services offered through Cambridge Investment Research Advisors Incorporated, a registered investment advisor. Crest Point Wealth Management and Cambridge are not affiliated.
There were no games played yesterday. No contest on the schedule. So, today's volleyball schedule includes Providence Christian at Columbia Academy at 5:30. At 6 o'clock, Columbia Central is at Spring Hill. Moore County is at Culleoka. Page is at Independence. And Summertown is at Lewis County.
With no time available for start times, Collingwood at Hampshire. Loretto traveling to Huntsville to take on Covenant Christian. That's down in Alabama, if you don't know where Huntsville is. I guess. Not Texas. And Mount Pleasant is hosting Perry County.
In girls soccer action today, 6 o'clock starts for Huntland at Hickman County, Huntland at Richland, and Warren County at Franklin County.
Culleoka is at Hickman County. You said Huntland twice, and I was like, and then you said it differently, and I thought, are there two teams?
Culleoka is at Hickman County at 6, Huntland is at Richland at 6, Warren County is at Franklin County at 6.
All right, and Independence is here in Columbia at Columbia Central. That's at 7.
Actually, that game is at Ridley Park.
Okay, at Ridley Park. Yeah. And Summit is at Nolensville at 7. Columbia Academy travels to Middle Tennessee Christian. Not sure what time that starts. And Murfreesboro Central hosting Spring Hill. Also unsure of a start time or first touch on that one.
And in Memphis, Columbia State takes on Southwest Tennessee in women's college soccer action.
Hope they didn't take any basketball players with them.
Yeah, that's probably a good idea.
That's going to do it for today's rundown. All right, couple things to get out of the way as quickly as we can because the Braves in Colorado were supposed to play today, but it was rained out, so we will see how that works, if they have to make it up or not at the end of the year.
Hopefully they won't.
Hopefully they don't have to. Poor Colorado if we do, by the way. Like, hey, guys, I know your season's supposed to be over. We're going to need you to head down to Atlanta for one game.
One game. One game.
And there's nothing on the line for you. So perhaps they just forfeit and give it to us.
Yeah. I mean, why bother? Yeah, the good thing, if there is a good thing, is the way the Braves rotation lines up. You get Ian Anderson, Charlie Morton, and Max Fried for San Francisco this weekend.
That's if there's anything good to come of it. That's it. So, Braves lost again last night, and I really don't want to talk about it. So,
okay.
I mean, it's get a hit, dadgummit,
with somebody on base.
1 for 10 with runners in scoring position.
They did get a hit.
They did. They got one of those.
Not able to extend that lead over Philadelphia. Still at 3.5. Well, no, lost.
Lost a game.
Yeah, because Philly won yesterday. So 3.5 game lead over Philadelphia, 5.5 over the Mets. The magic number stands at 15.
Tonight in NFL action, Washington football team hosting the New York Giants in NFC East play. A little early for division play unless you're the Texans and Jacksonville who played last week.
All right.
But getting the NFC East underway pretty early here should be an interesting ball game, considering that Ron Fitzpatrick probably out, so that means Taylor Heineke will likely be playing quarterback.
Old Dominion's finest.
Anybody whose name is Heineke, I'm a fan.
Yeah, it's a good thing he's not still in school. There'd have to be some NIL going on there.
Oh, Heineke for Heineken? No doubt.
Yeah. Big news. Scrolling through Twitter as we are wont to do.
When you started typing this in, my eyes got like this big.
I bet they did. Matt Brown at Matt Brown EP. Multiple industry sources tell Extra Points that Austin Peay is expected to join the A-Sun, with an official announcement potentially coming as soon as Monday.
Let's go.
This move would give the A-Sun 6 football championship series football playing members.
Of
a little
the 7
redundant
necessary.
there. Is it 7?
They got to have 7 to be an AQ.
There you go. If this were to be the case, Austin Peay would become the third former Ohio Valley Conference team to the A-Sun, joining Eastern Kentucky and
you can say it.
and Jacksonville State, as well as Kennesaw.
That was, yeah.
As well as Kennesaw State, Central Arkansas, and North Alabama. So, wonder what Beth DeBosch is thinking right now.
You know, that's interesting. I will tell you this. Austin Peay going to the A-Sun would make me very happy. Even one, they're very good competition. They beat Jacksonville last year in the fall season. I always enjoy playing that team, but they're right here in my backyard, so every other year getting to see Jacksonville State in Clarksville would be pretty cool. To continue that anyway.
So there you go. Again, official announcement coming as soon as next week. So it'd be worth keeping an eye on, certainly.
Now we get into high school sports. The list of COVID cancellations, Mo, awfully short comparatively speaking. Knocking on wood.
Yeah. Harding Academy at Jackson Christian, and a bunch of games in the eastern, Brewston at McEwen also. Then a bunch of games on the east side of the state. Claiborne at Unicoi County, Scott at Carter, Coalfield at Oakdale, and Pigeon Forge at Alcoa. Also, Brentwood Academy at St. Benedict. So what's that, 7 games this week?
Just 7 so far.
So, So it's that number is continuing to come down from the 37 that we saw in week 3. So that's a positive sign.
No doubt. Really excited to see that trending in the correct direction. And before we get out of here, I want to mention that the Tennessee Football Coaches Association announced their 2020 Hall of Fame.
Yes, because I think they decided early enough that they weren't going to be able to have an induction ceremony last year, so they did not announce the class.
Right, so they're going to have this class announced, and then like in a few days they'll announce this year's class. So
correct.
2 classes.
And they will induct 2 classes during their December 4th ceremonies down in Chattanooga, in conjunction with the Blue Cross Bowl State Championships that'll be played down there. And a interesting name to Middle Tennessee listeners, and particularly to our listeners at WZYX The Eagle, because Franklin County color analyst Red Roberts is among the inductees for the 2020 class. Coach Roberts, 145 and 86 in 21 seasons as head coach of the Rebels. Led them to 15 winning seasons, 12 state playoff appearances. Former Little All-American receiver at Austin Peay. And he was inducted into his college alma mater's Athletic Hall of Fame in 2014. The Georgia native was inducted into the Glenn County Hall of Fame in 2020. He will be joined by Cookeville's Jelly Watson, who is the grandfather of Watson and Mack Brown, but was a fine coach in his own right. Marion County's Don Stewart, Farragut's Eddie Coatney, and Greenback's Bill Satterfield. So that's the 2020 class that will go in December. The 2021 class, again, as Chris said, is to be announced at some point here in the next few days. So
that's pretty great. I met Coach Roberts last week.
Good dude.
And it's really cool when, for me, I mean, I didn't know who he was. Like, I just, how he's just the guy sitting here with Al Clark, like, I mean, it's.
Who's that guy with Al Clark? Yeah.
That's one of my favorite jokes. I love that one. Oh, man. But it's really neat when, folks who really deserve it get a chance to see themselves inducted into a Hall of Fame. A lot of times you don't necessarily get to enjoy that.
Give them their flowers while they're here, huh? Yep.
So that's awesome. Great news for Red, Franklin County, and the other inductees. All right. We got a couple minutes left here. So why don't we hand out some hardware? Hey.
Let's do it.
That's going to be, can we just get that as that you just.
A little tone low for the show.
Just, push the button. In to Win Life, Team of the Week, presented by Custom Stone Handlers. Gotta go south. The Mustangs, big win over at Wayne County last week. Loretto, your In to Win Life Team of the Week. Big win for them.
Yeah, I mean, not just beating Wayne County, but the way they did, 41-14 over there. Caden Porter with 205 rushing yards, 5 touchdowns on 13 carries. Big performance for him, big performance for the Mustangs, big win.
Caden Porter was certainly a finalist for this next award.
Yeah, no doubt.
The MTBJ, Mid-Tennessee Bone and Joint, presenters of this show. Player of the Week from Summit. Very similar numbers, but just a little bit different. Destin Wade.
Yeah, went about it a little bit differently. Destin Wade, 260 rushing yards on 11 carries, 4 touchdowns, all of them lengthy. I think 30 was the shortest one. 43, 72, 68, and 30. Guess he was tired on that fourth one.
I don't know how. I don't know what you can do to stop the guy.
Sneak a couple extra defenders out there, maybe. I don't know. Trip him if he comes up your sideline.
Yeah, that's it. Too much Alabama in me. I mean, kind of thing. I mean, I don't know what you do. You can't stop this guy.
Oh, and 3 or 4 in the passing game for 102 yards, including a 77 bucket throw to a double-covered Brady Pierce up the left sideline for a touchdown.
Well, double covered in the.
Well, they were both behind him.
Well, in the fact that the safety was coming over and he tried to make the play, but Destin threw it perfectly. Could not have thrown it any better. Just right over the top of his hand into the gut of Brady Pierce.
So for those people that think he can't throw it, go back and take a look at that one.
It's special to watch, man. Mm-hmm. Destin Wade is special to watch. All right, that's going to do it for our hardware for this week. We have Charlie Lansdale coming up on the other side of the break. He's going to talk to you about Columbia Academy football and their home game against number 1 DCA. On the other side is Coach's Corner, presented by From the Heart Cafe out in Chapel Hill. So stick around. We will come back to you again right here on Southern Middle Tennessee Sports Today, presented by Mid-Tennessee Bone and Joint. Mid-Tennessee Bone and Joint treats your orthopedic injuries and existing conditions. Our trained physicians will get you back in the game faster. Contact us at 931-381-2663 or www.mtbj.net.
Fast Stop Markets is a full-service, family-owned convenience store chain located in 14 locations throughout Middle and West Tennessee. For those in our listening area, you can find them in Columbia, Centerville, Lawrenceburg, Spring Hill, Dixon, and White Bluff.
Fast Stop partners with wholesale fuel brands like Shell, Marathon, and Exxon, delivering a consistent customer experience that is fast, friendly, and clean. If it's not already, it will soon become your go-to store to shop in town or on the road. Fast Stop Markets is proud to be keeping you moving in Tennessee.
Keep your home as comfortable as possible. If you have any issues with your air conditioner, electrical, or plumbing systems, call Lee Company. Our techs use visual findings and other technology tools to add transparency and clarity. You see what we see, whether we're in a crawl space or on the roof. We're here 24/7, so if you need us, call us. Lee Company. Call 931-548-4448 today or schedule your appointment at leecompany.com. That's leecompany.com.
Hey folks, while we take a quick break from the show, I want to tell you about our friends over at Custom Stone Handlers in downtown Columbia. Ned Rich and his team at Custom Stone Handlers believe in leadership. And outside of the military, our greatest leader building platform is sports. Custom Stone Handlers proudly encourages young people to get in the game. You can contact them today at 931-490-4990 or visit CustomStonehandlers.com. Mid-Tennessee Bone and Joint has been the official sports medicine provider for Maury County Schools for more than 40 years. We specialize in orthopedic injuries, and our Ortho Quick walk-in service lets you bypass the ER. Visit us online at www.mtbj.net.
Local sports talk you'll only find here. It's Southern Middle Tennessee Sports Today. Live from the Lee Company studio with the Hall of Famer Mo Patton, here's Chris Yao.
Welcome back into Southern Middle Tennessee Sports Today, presented by Mid-Tennessee Bone and Joint. Chris Yao, Mo Patton, JP Plant with you here on this Thursday afternoon edition of our show. We are glad to have you. As always, we are now getting a chance to talk about one of our favorite places in the world to eat, Mo. And that is, of course, From the Heart Cafe. From the Heart Cafe sponsors Coach's Corner each and every Thursday. And we are so thankful for what they do and what they bring. Some of the best food, best desserts in the area. Again, Renee and all the folks down at From the Heart Cafe located in Chapel Hill. Make sure to go see them if you get a chance. Mo, we now get to talk to Columbia Academy head football coach Charlie Lansdale on Coach's Corner. Coach, welcome in. Thanks for joining us.
Hey, thank you. I appreciate it. Thank you.
Yeah, Coach, it's been a little bit of a tough start, but you get the comforts of home this weekend.
Yeah, finally. Finally. It seems like we've been on the road forever, and we get a chance to come back and play here at our home stadium, and so we're definitely looking forward to that and getting a chance for our fans that weren't able to travel to come out and support us and hopefully get a big crowd here and get behind us.
The bad news is also joining you at home will be Donaldson Christian, and all they are is the number one team in Division 2A in the state.
Yeah. We've kind of we started out with Davidson, who if they didn't move up would probably be the number one team, and then moved on and played some tough teams after that. We played tough teams all the way up to this point, and Donaldson Christian is definitely at the top of that list as far as a challenge for us. But it doesn't get any really any easier throughout the year. That like I've said before, there's no off weeks in this Division 2A middle region. Your non-region games, if you schedule like we do, are going to be tough, and so there's no time to rest. That's for sure.
The good thing about DCA is with a Paul Wade coach team, you kind of know what you're going to get.
Oh yeah. He's not trying to fool anybody on anything. That's for sure. I've coached against Coach Wade for quite a few years now. And, what he's going to bring is a tough, hard-nosed football team that does things right. And, like you said, it's not, I don't want it to sound bad and say simple, but it's a very vanilla kind of look that you'll get, but they'll execute really, really well. And, you're forced to stop it because they're coming. And so Coach Wade does a tremendous job. His record speaks for itself. And so we're preparing to do that. And we'll see how we fare tomorrow night.
And they're going to be physical.
Oh, yes, absolutely. They're finishing blocks downfield. I mean, you watch them on film, and those guys block to the echo of the whistle. And those linemen give 100% every play. Their backs run hard. Their quarterback is smart and heady and seems to have a high football IQ. Defensively, they rally to the football, and they're going to be a tremendous challenge for sure.
Speaking with Columbia Academy coach Charlie Lansdale here on Coach's Corner, brought to you by From the Heart Cafe over in Chapel Hill. Coach, last week was obviously a tough week, just struggled tackling on the outsides. Once they were able to get their kids in space, you guys were struggling to just bring them down. You guys were in position though, so how have you worked on finishing the play with tackles in space this week?
Well, we've definitely worked on tackling a little bit more. If you were at the game, it was obvious that needed to be done. Why it happened Friday night, I couldn't tell you because it's not like we hadn't been working on tackling, and so it's very frustrating to watch. I don't question the effort of the kids. I think they gave effort, but for some reason that night they weren't prepared to do the job and make the tackles and stay on blocks and do those kinds of things that they've been taught and that we practice every day. So it ultimately boils down to me and having them ready to play and be able to do their jobs. And so we kind of turned back the clock a little bit, and I kind of dug into, how I approached coaching when I first took over here, and it's been a good week of kind of just taking a deep breath and getting back to fundamentals.
Coach, looking back over these first three games, obviously the defense has had its struggles, but also, y'all have struggled to put points on the board. 7 against Davidson, 17 against Jackson Christian, and 13 this past weekend against Franklin Road Academy. What's missing, or what have you seen? What improvement have you seen from week to week offensively?
Well, I have seen improvement, and so that's a good thing. Now we, as a coach and staff, understand that we need to improve, obviously, but the goal is put the ball in the end zone, and so we've got to score. So, we can have 200 yards of rushing, and our quarterback can be 8 of 10 passing or whatever, and have a pretty good night statistically. But if we're not putting the ball in the end zone, it don't matter. And with that said, we can improve every week, and if we're not putting the ball in the end zone, it don't matter to people. So the goal is get the ball in the end zone, and so we have definitely discussed that and worked on a few things this week. I think that will help us. I think we need to get under center a little bit and focus on going north and south, and that's what we'll do a little bit.
You're getting under center. You're getting old school. I mean, I
well,
don't know who does that anymore.
I know, but that's me. And we've done a pretty good job in the past with that and that approach, and so anyway, we'll go back to some of that old school stuff, but also do some of the things that we're doing as well, because I think it's working really well, and the kids seem to be executing, like I said, offensively when it comes to stats. But the ultimate stat is score and the final score, and so we've got to get that ball in the end zone.
Looks like you got a little bit of a spark out of your freshman running back Monte Baldwin last week.
Oh yeah, Monte is a tremendous football player, and he's definitely, if you watch him, as long as he stays healthy and does the right things, and we develop him, he's going to be something very special to watch, and we won't have to wait very long. As a matter of fact, I think he's got an opportunity to do that this year, even as a freshman. He's a dynamic playmaker. He's a big play threat. He's got speed. And the most important thing to me is he plays mentally, probably like a junior or senior. He doesn't feel like a freshman, and that's easy to see and refreshing. And I'm glad he's on my team.
Coach, as you look forward this week and even back into last week, you suffered a few injuries last week. You're going to be without some key components on Friday night. Talk a little bit about some of the guys that you're going to be who are not going to play this week, and going forward, maybe how long you're expecting them to be out.
Okay. Well, first of all, going into the season, our starting quarterback, Connor Rawson, kind of was pulling away from the rest of the guys and establishing that starting position. And he got hurt in a scrimmage, so he'll definitely be out again tomorrow night, but hopefully Monday be able to start that practice with us because he's healed up and ready to go, and he's anxious to get back with us. So I think that'll be a bright spot. Now for tomorrow night, the guys that were playing last week that will not be with us is Samuel Nowotny, that has been a big playmaker for us. He's got a little bit of a banged up knee, so we're going to hold him out. He won't be playing tomorrow night. Gabriel Sapicki is another kid that's been playing line for us and done a good job. Has a little bit of a broken hand that they're trying to let heal up. Then Nathan Thomas, one of our running backs and defensive backs, tore his ACL Friday night, and that really was pretty devastating news for us yesterday. And because he got up and was tough and, just kind of limping around saying, I don't know. I just don't know. And matter of fact, he probably would have went back into the game Friday night if I'd have sent him, but I didn't. And we found out yesterday that he did tear his ACL. So obviously he'll be out.
Coach, the situation with Connor Rawson in particular, you expect him back at practice Monday. One, is that a quicker return than you all anticipated? And two, how quickly would you expect him to be able to be a factor for you all in some way offensively?
That's a big unknown, I think, right now. As far as the time goes, he heard it, I think, approximately 5 to 6 weeks ago, and that's what they were saying. If everything goes well and he heals well and responds well to the surgery that he had, that's about how long it would take. Now, after, we've cleared him and said he can practice and all those kinds of things, he's been throwing the football with his rehabilitation, but he still hasn't taken a lick on it. I don't know how he's going to respond mentally. And so there's still a lot of unknowns that need to be answered. But the good news is we can start moving in that direction Monday and just see where he's at.
Coach Charlie Lansdale of the Columbia Academy Bulldogs taking on Donaldson Christian, number 1 in the state, on Friday night at home. So make sure to get out there if you are looking for a place to go, you can check them out. You can also find them on the NFHS network as well if you want to watch and stream the game live. Coach, we appreciate you taking some time with us today and look forward to your continued success throughout the rest of the year. Hopefully getting that first win will snowball.
Yes, hope so. We're looking for it, and we're going out there tomorrow night to win. And the wins will come. We just got to keep growing up and getting better, and I think we're moving in that direction. So I appreciate you guys.
Absolutely, anytime. That is Charlie Lansdale, Columbia Academy coach. Once they get that first win, and it's so interesting. We talked about Charlie never backs down from playing anybody. He's going to play the best schedule he can anytime he can. The back half of this schedule is much like the last 2 seasons where they've been able to get some wins on the back half, and it's still possible for this team to go undefeated in the district.
It's very manageable.
They've not played a district game yet.
It's very manageable. I mean, after you get past this DCA game tomorrow night, you've got Boyd Buchanan, Mount Juliet Christian, Nashville Christian, Clarksville Academy, and Grace Christian out of Franklin. And there are 3 winnable games in that. At least, yeah. And that's kind of why you play the Davidsons and the Jackson Christians and the FRAs. We've talked about it with Scott Blade and with some of these other teams. There is nothing that has taken place in these first 3 games that keeps Columbia Academy from accomplishing anything that they want to get done this year.
That's exactly right.
So
play the tough competition that way. When you're playing not so tough competition, you are prepared. The problem is when
you get hurt. Beat up.
Yeah, that's the other side of that coin. So hopefully those kids will be able to get back, obviously other than Nathan Thomas with the torn ACL, but everyone else, perhaps they can get them back. Again, Friday night, 7 o'clock, Columbia Academy hosting Donaldson Christian. Go check them out. We'll be right back on the other side of the break, just talking high school football. So stick around. Game of the week on the other side. Southern Middle Tennessee Sports Today, presented by Mid-Tennessee Bone & Joint. Be right back after this. Mid-Tennessee Bone & Joint treats your orthopedic injuries and existing conditions. Our trained physicians will get you back in the game faster. Contact us at 931-381-2663 or www.mtbj.net.
Fast Stop Markets is a full-service, family-owned convenience store chain located in 14 locations throughout Middle and West Tennessee. For those in our listening area, you can find them in Columbia, Centerville, Lawrenceburg, Spring Hill, Dixon, and White Bluff.
Fast Stop partners with wholesale fuel brands like Shell, Marathon, and Exxon, delivering a consistent customer experience that is fast, friendly, and clean. If it's not already, it will soon become your go-to store to shop in town or on the road. Fast Stop Markets is proud to be keeping you moving in Tennessee.
Keep your home as comfortable as possible. If you have any issues with your air conditioner, electrical, or plumbing systems, call Lee Company. Our techs use visual findings and other technology tools to add transparency and clarity. You see what we see, whether we're in a crawl space or on the roof. We're here 24/7, so if you need us, call us. Lee Company. Call 931-548-4448 today or schedule your appointment at leecompany.com. That's leecompany.com.
Hey folks, while we take a quick break from the show, I want to tell you about our friends over at Custom Stone Handlers in downtown Columbia. Ned Rich and his team at Custom Stone Handlers believe in leadership. And outside of the military, our greatest leader building platform is sports. Custom Stone Handlers proudly encourages young people to get in the game. You can contact them today at 931-490-4990 or visit CustomStonehandlers.com. Mid-Tennessee Bone and Joint has been the official sports medicine provider for Maury County Schools for more than 40 years. We specialize in orthopedic injuries, and our Ortho Quick walk-in service lets you bypass the ER. Visit us online at www.mtbj.net.
Talking high school sports, here's Mo and Chris.
Welcome back in Southern Middle Tennessee Sports Day, presented by Mid-Tennessee Bone and Joint. We are live from the Lee Company studio here on this Thursday afternoon. Glad to be with you. WKOM 101.7 FM, WZYXradio.net. Excited because we get to talk high school football in Southern Middle Tennessee, and we get to talk about the Fast Stop game of the week, which includes the In to Win Life Team of the Week, Loretto, as the Mustangs hosting Mount Pleasant. Mount Pleasant really needs to get a win here just to get out of that Ophir hole in Region 5-2A. The thing is, anybody in this region can win on any given night. So Friday night down near the state line is going to be a lot of fun, Mo.
Yeah, I think so. You know, Mount Pleasant coming off of that 16-14 loss to Cascade a couple of weeks ago, like you said, at their place. And then open last week, a rather untimely open date, I think. But maybe it was timely because Mount Pleasant had some folks a little beat up, a little banged, a little bruised, and expecting some folks back for this Loretto game.
At least one big one, Kevin Cooper.
That's your guy.
That's my guy.
Hanging with.
Dude, that
I mean,
was
you
solid.
were there for his coming out party, basically down at Fayetteville. Little did we know at that time that Fayetteville was going to run the table and win a state championship, but Kevin Cooper certainly held his own in that game last year. And
well, minus about 2.5 minutes, Mount Pleasant held their own in that game last year. The last minute and a half last 2.5 minutes of that second quarter is what really kind of turned the table. And then Cooper returns the kickoff in the second half, opening kickoff, back for a touchdown, then goes for another 60-plus yarder later in the game. So, yeah, he is a dynamic player, and especially considering that they were without 3 running backs last week.
2 weeks ago.
2 weeks ago.
Yeah.
In their last game, they were without 3 of their running backs. So they need somebody who is able to carry that load, and Cooper is the guy.
Well, Cooper is certainly a guy. I'm not sure the severity of the knee injury that Xavier Davidson suffered in that ball game, but if he's back and he's back to being him, then they've got a couple of threats in the run game. And Tavarius Strayhorn at the time was saying he expected to be back. So if they can get back to switching it up at quarterback with him and Nick Brown and get good play out of both of them, and if those quarterbacks are able to take advantage of DeMarcus Brown and Jeffrey Williamson on the outside, and I know that's a lot of ifs, but, you know, when, again, you look at the makeup of this Region 5-2A and you feel like it's anybody's ball game any night out, you think Mount Pleasant has a shot to do some damage on the road here to kind of make up for the home field loss from a couple of weeks ago to Cascade, 16-14.
Right, and I think that just kind of goes to show how open this region is, because Mount Pleasant was without 3 of their running backs and still only lost 16-14. So defensively, they played really well against the champions. They're going to have to play well this week because Caden Porter is a load.
5 touchdowns, 205 rushing yards against Wayne County last week. Battled Host Forest to a 13-7 decision a couple of weeks ago in the Region 5-2A opener for both those teams. So, you kind of know what you're going to get out of Loretto. It's going to be run first, run second, run third behind Porter and Case Tucker as well, who is another one of the top rushers in the southern Middle Tennessee area. So if Mount Pleasant defensively can hold up against the run and maybe make
there you
Loretto,
go with those ifs again.
Yeah,
there's a lot
right,
of them.
But there are a lot of them. I mean,
that's the thing about Mount Pleasant is everything is there. It's just a matter of putting it all together. You get a defensive performance like you did over at Scotts Hill,
or even one like you got against Cascade.
That's the thing. Defensively, they've been as good as they've been in a while. Mm-hmm. And it all starts up front. This is a team that can give you problems if they're able to get pressure on the quarterback or get to your running backs in the backfield.
Well, they've got some size and they've got some speed up front. Talking about Dontavius Ellison and Gavin Alderson in particular.
Yeah, Gavin Alderson is definitely a force to be reckoned with, as is Dontavius Ellison. I mean, we knew that Ellison was going to be a force on both sides of the ball. Mm-hmm. Alderson, when you could be, it just so happens that he has certainly turned it on here of late. And I think when you get a performance like he had over at Scotts Hill, it kind of gives you some confidence. And he's thinking, man, I can be the guy for this team. I can be the guy that this team leans on to get a stop when we need a stop.
And he made some similar plays along those lines against Cascade the following week. So,
and now that he's doing that, I think that's where you have to go, all right, I feel like Mount Pleasant's defense is legit. They're good enough to give their offense a chance to win ball games and win this region.
So going back to that offense, sophomore quarterback Nick Brown struggled a little bit with time and possession, that kind of thing. I mean, just game time situations. Got to be a little bit more aware of the pocket. Got to be a little bit more aware of, down and distance, that kind of thing. Can't take a safety.
Well, and
he's a young quarterback. This is his first time in.
That was only his second game as the guy.
The guy, yeah, because I mean he and Tavarius Strayhorn have gone back and forth pretty much every series while Strayhorn was healthy. So that was his second start. It'll be interesting to see how much he's grown up from Cascade to Loretto in this off week. So,
and it'll be interesting to see how much Strayhorn gets to play if he is back, mm-hmm. and how much rust Tavarius might have. He's got to shake some of that off early. The thing about Nick,
I think what you do though to shake some of the rust off of Strayhorn early is you call some running plays for him early.
Let him
take advantage of his strengths, and maybe let him get hit a couple of times just to kind of get him back into the swing of things. Or not. Let him take it the distance.
I was about to say, I mean, to hit him, you got to catch him. And
right.
Sometimes that's not so easy. The thing about Nick Brown is he has the tools. I think he still has some issues with throwing it where they're going, leading your receivers. The interception that he threw against Scotts Hill was a really good play by the defensive back. Don't get me wrong. And when we talked to Kit Hartsfield about it, he said, it was a really good play by the DB. But he threw it 5 yards short. Mm-hmm. If he throws it 5 yards farther, the DB has no play on it and it's a touchdown because his guy was behind everybody. Mm. So he's got to figure out, hey, my guys are fast. My guys can go up and get the ball. Let me give them an opportunity to make that play rather than trying to throw it into a position that may not be as easy for them to do that.
If I overthrow my guys, it's an incompletion.
That's right.
If I underthrow my guys,
It's going the other
it's
way.
a pick.
And you can't do that.
Yeah.
And so,
And his guys are tough to overthrow, like you said.
right, that's the thing, especially for him. I mean, just throw it as far as you can, let them go get it. And they did that in that scrimmage against Collinwood that I went and watched. They did that when they went to the championship game of
7-on-7 over at
Shelbyville.
Shelbyville. Yep.
I mean, this is a team and a quarterback that, sometimes, especially 7-on-7, you don't have pads, right? So there's some mobility issues when you put those pads on. Work through that.
There's got to be some pocket awareness and the realization that you can't make every play.
Yeah, I think he fumbled. He fumbled once, maybe twice. He fumbled twice because he fumbled under the center going in for the touchdown before they had the safety over at Scotts Hill. So he fumbled twice, which again, that second one was a fumbled snap, not something else. But
We don't practice that.
well, then
Practice
don't,
it.
either practice it or don't do it. One of the two. But I think if you have Travarius Strayhorn there, you're not worried about going under center. You're just going to have 6 take it,
Yeah, and
bull his way through.
There you go.
But yeah, so that's kind of where Mount Pleasant. This is going to be a big game, though. Again, Region 5 2A is wide open for the taking. Just because Mount Pleasant lost to Cascade and just because Loretto lost to Forest doesn't put you out of it.
No,
Because I think the winner of this region is going to have a loss,
at least one.
at least one, and we might have a 3-way tie with 2. Who knows? It's going to be crazy the way that this season shakes out in that region. I am super excited about it. Again, Carter Daniel, quarterback at Loretto, right at 50% completion rate, 307 yards, 2 touchdowns, 2 picks. Just keeping the defense honest. That's all he's got to do.
They are not going to throw it a whole lot. They're not going to ask him to. They're not going to ask Carter Daniel to win games with his arm, for sure. So, and if you're Mount Pleasant on defense, you probably know that.
That's the thing. Well, and that kind of takes a little bit of Alderson and Ellison out because they're not going to get to rush the passer unless they're way ahead. So they're not going to get to rush the passer the way that they really want to. They're really going to have to focus on stopping the run game. Now, they're pretty good. So I got a feeling they just might do that. But I'm excited. It's going to be a good one.
It's going to be a heck of a ball game.
We will have full coverage of it. MainStreetMurray.com, MainStreetPreps.com. You can find full coverage of the Fast Stop game of the week. It's Mount Pleasant at Loretto. And if you've not been to Loretto to watch a football game, it's a really nice place to watch a football game. I mean, it's a small town feel. It's everything you want in high school football, and a really, really good looking stadium. So that's going to do it for this segment, Mo. What do you think?
Hey, I think it's the game of the week for a reason.
No doubt. In the second hour, we're going to preview quickly 10 more ball games.
Count them.
That's a lot. So we'll preview 10.
We're going to be under the gun.
JP's going to give us a time limit, and he's going to say, all right, you got to move on. Let's go. Next. You remember the MTV show?
We wrap it up.
The MTV show Next, where you go on the date and they're just like, nope, next. And then they bring somebody else out to go on the date. That's what it's going to be like.
There we go.
So, yeah, we'll preview 10 ball games in the area on the other side of the top of the hour. And, of course, at the final segment of the show, we tell you who's going to win. Last week, we both went 8-3, so I'll take that. I'll take it. So please stick around. Don't touch that dial. All of those things. You know, I keep saying don't touch that dial. And I got to keep thinking, don't touch that tune button.
There you go.
Don't touch it, because we're coming back on the other side of the break again. 10 games to cover, and hopefully somebody from down in Franklin County will be on with us. We'll catch him in the break. So, again, Stick around. Southern Middle Tennessee Sports Today, presented by Mid-Tennessee Bone & Joint. We are coming to you from the Lee Company studio, WKOM 1017 FM and WZYX Radio.net. We have a lot to get to, so please stick around. We appreciate you. Come back right after this. Mid-Tennessee Bone & Joint treats your orthopedic injuries and existing conditions. Our trained physicians will get you back in the game faster. Contact us at 931-381-2663 or www.mtbj.net.
Fast Stop Markets is a full-service, family-owned convenience store chain located in 14 locations throughout Middle and West Tennessee. For those in our listening area, you can find them in Columbia, Centerville, Lawrenceburg, Spring Hill, Dixon, and White Bluff.
Fast Stop partners with wholesale fuel brands like Shell, Marathon, and Exxon, delivering a consistent customer experience that is fast, friendly, and clean. If it's not already, it will soon become your go-to store to shop in town or on the road. Fast Stop Markets is proud to be keeping you moving in Tennessee.
Keep your home as comfortable as possible. If you have any issues with your air conditioner, electrical, or plumbing systems, call Lee Company. Our techs use visual findings and other technology tools to add transparency and clarity. You see what we see, whether we're in a crawl space or on the roof. We're here 24/7, so if you need us, call us. Lee Company. Call 931-548-4448 today or schedule your appointment at leecompany.com. That's leecompany.com.
Hey folks, while we take a quick break from the show, I want to tell you about our friends over at Custom Stone Handlers in downtown Columbia. Ned Rich and his team at Custom Stone Handlers believe in leadership. And outside of the military, our greatest leader building platform is sports. Custom Stone Handlers proudly encourages young people to get in the game. You can contact them today at 931-490-4990 or visit CustomStonehandlers.com. Mid-Tennessee Bone & Joint has been the official sports medicine provider for Maury County Schools for more than 40 years. We specialize in orthopedic injuries, and our Ortho Quick walk-in service lets you bypass the ER. Visit us online at www.mtbj.net.
From preps to pros and everything in between, it's Southern Middle Tennessee Sports Today. Live from the Lee Company studio. With the Hall of Famer Mo Patton, here's Chris Yao.
Welcome back into Southern Middle Tennessee Sports Today, presented by Mid-Tennessee Bone & Joint. Chris Yao, Mo Patton, JP Plant with you here on this Thursday night football preview, Thursday edition of the show. I get so confused. But we are ready to bring you the previews of 10 local football games. It's going to be a lot of fun as we get a chance to talk about some of our favorite athletes in the area. We do have on the line with us Franklin County Rebels play-by-play voice, WZYX General Manager, Mr. Al Clark.
Hi, Chris. Yeah.
How are you, sir?
I'm better than I deserve.
You and I have something in common now. We get to hang out with Hall of Famers all the time.
Isn't that something?
Yeah, it's not a bad gig. Because
trust me, Al is getting the better of that comparison because
absolutely, there's no question there.
Red Roberts going into the Tennessee Football Coaches Association's Hall of Fame is a long overdue honor, and I think the Tennessee sports writers just kind of ran out of guys. But congrats to Coach Roberts. That's a huge honor for him.
Yeah, you know, he's in the Hall of Fame at his hometown for a couple of things, individual and team. Also a member of the Austin Peay State University Sports Hall of Fame for all his play there when he was in college. And, yeah, so you got him in TACA?
Was not aware of TACA. Is he in that one as well?
I thought you said
no, Tennessee Football Coaches. Yeah, they announced their 2020 class earlier today, and he is in that group. So be sure and give him all of his deserved accolades on y'all's broadcast tomorrow night.
I got to go out and buy more headgear for him. It's just keeping bigger and bigger and bigger.
Let's talk a little football, Al, and we'll start with Huntland because the Hornets looked good early. 17-7, they were up last week on Cascade.
And then didn't score the rest of the night.
Could not hold on. Ethan Cook ran it 14 times for 92 yards. DJ Ford had 49 on 15 carries. But the Hornets still looking for win number one.
Got to travel to Waynesboro and play Wayne County. Wayne County, of course, lost their running back last week due to on-field injury, which brought in a helicopter, and they hauled that young man to the hospital. That's a unique situation. Coach Robertson told me this morning that they were hard hitters up there in Wayne County, and he was going to have his team do the same thing. He still has not won a game except for a COVID win against Whitwell. So we got his hands full again. This is one of the toughest schedules in the state. Got to be.
Yeah, no question there. Cascade, a pretty good ball team. They defeated Mount Pleasant 2 weeks ago, 16-14. So, again, Coach Robertson looking to get a win against Wayne County this week. They were losers against Loretto last week. Yep. So, is this the district opener or no?
They lost to Cornersville.
That's right, Cornersville.
Third. Yeah, so this will be their second region game for the season. They'll have Collingwood, Eagleville, Fayetteville, and Moore County left, region-wise.
All right, that's Huntland again at Wayne County on Friday night. I hope they I hope they left about an hour ago to get there on time. So
yeah, they probably need to spend the night and have breakfast, lunch, and dinner.
All right, moving on to Franklin County. They host the Page Patriots, number 4 in Class 5A. What do the Rebels got to do to slow this team down?
Jake McNamara, that's the guy.
Is he back?
Yeah. Huge night last week in their game last week against Coffee County, throwing the football. I think they're one-dimensional. I think if the Rebels can slow down the passing game, they should have a chance. I'll put it that way.
Page definitely provides a challenge every time they go on the field, if for no other reason than, like Al said, Jake McNamara, the Colorado State commit at quarterback, he missed a little time in the first 2 or 3 weeks, and his backup, Colin Hurd, came in, and they hardly missed a beat. But I think their preference would be to have McNamara at quarterback and have Hurd maybe catching passes or breaking up passes on the defensive side. So that Page team is really stout on both sides of the ball.
Yeah, it's going to be a tough night. They're not dissuaded. They're having good weeks in practice still. Talked to them this morning. They're preparing for them like they do everybody else. After tomorrow night, it gets a little easier. It looks like on paper for the Rebels. They'll be at Grundy County, at Lincoln County. They'll play Spring Hill and Warren County at home. Then they got to go at Nolensville for the finish the season. So maybe some relief in the future.
Maybe so. Al Clark, General Manager, WZYX and Franklin County Rebels voice. Appreciate your time today.
Thank you. Good to talk with you. Appreciate it.
Absolutely. All right. Let's go up to the metro area where the Firebirds of Pearl-Cohn will host Lawrence County.
Yeah, Lawrence County coming off a big win last week, much to the pleasure of
me.
to the pleasure of everyone in this room, actually. Defeating Greenbrier 21-0 without Alex Carr scoring a rushing touchdown. Did throw for a pair, though.
Did throw for a pair. Hasn't thrown a pick yet either.
Yeah.
That's important.
Key for Lawrence County was a defense that forced a half dozen turnovers.
That's good. That's good, right?
That is good.
That seems good.
That seems very good. I don't think they can count on it this week.
You're probably right. Yeah, I mean, obviously, really good Pearl-Cohn team. Played the state championship game last year, moving up to Class 4A of their own volition.
And ranked number 3.
You've played Montgomery Central, and you thought, man, this team's really good. Oh, wait. We've still got Pearl-Cohn and Tullahoma.
And Marshall County. All 4 of whom are ranked in the top 10.
Waiting in the wings. So this region gets no easier for the Wildcats, but Alex Carr is going to be he's got to be the guy. So
Alex Carr will be the key.
The key.
Interesting note, this game is actually going to be played at Hunter's Lane due to facility upgrades and updates at Pearl-Cohn.
Well, that's great for Pearl-Cohn, the upgrades. The loss of the home field, not so much. But yeah,
that's good information.
That is good information.
So don't if you're traveling from Elberg, don't go to Pearl-Cohn.
No, just go right on up 65. Don't swing around 440 and go that way. Yeah.
Summertown, coming off a big win against Collinwood last week, travels over to Forest, and as we said in 5-2-way, anybody on any given night. Colton Schaefer, big week last week, 3 touchdowns. Javen Edmiston got my game ball this week.
130 rushing yards and a touchdown on 10 carries, a 59-yard touchdown catch from the aforementioned Colton Schaefer. I mean, I feel like Summertown, when they're clicking on all cylinders, is as explosive offensively as anybody in that region.
You're exactly right. 10.5 yards a carry for Edmiston.
Solid.
That seems good.
I think that is good.
So
I think that is good. If they're moving the chains every time you carry the ball, that's good.
That's a positive. And so again, this is a game. Forest, obviously that defense is really, really good.
Forest has allowed 30 points in 4 games.
Trying to navigate your way through a Forest Rockets defense, not easy. Does Summertown have to be able to throw the ball this week in order to make any headway on offense and throw it successfully more than just when they have to?
I think they do have to be able to throw the ball, because I think otherwise Forrest is going to load up the box against Edmiston and Anakin Johnson. And if there's no threat to back them out of there, then it makes it really tough inside.
Colton Schaefer, 21 of 39 on the year for 330 yards, 3 touchdowns, no picks.
Taking care of the ball.
Take care of the football. That is the key.
Any play that ends with you still in possession of the football is a good play.
Typically, as long as you're not 5 or 10 yards in the backfield. Richland hosting Cascade after a huge win last week over Hickman County. And Nick Patterson's got to be using that as some momentum. Cascade, as we just talked about defeating Huntland last week, this is a really tough ball game for the Raiders. They need to get a win here.
They do need to get a win here. Like you said, 42-7 over Hickman County last week. Showed some of their own signs of being able to make some big plays offensively, with Ethan Workman catching a 75-yard touchdown pass. Bryce Miller has thrown it around pretty well the last couple of nights. Not sure how much of that is by design, because we know Nick is a 3 yards in a cloud of dust type guy, but they've been able to make some plays in the passing game.
I think that was a lot of the reasoning, obviously, for putting Bryce Miller at the quarterback position, was to give himself 2 athletes in the backfield that he could count on. And obviously against Cornersville, you kind of got to put that one out of your memory, because that's a really good football team. Going forward, and then after last week, Bryce Miller looked pretty good. If Richland can force turnovers, and like Huntland did last week, and take advantage of them, unlike Huntland did last week, I think that is going to be a huge key for the Raiders. And obviously being at home is a positive. You definitely like to be in Linville when you can. So there you go. I think this week is going to be really positive for local teams, in that we're going to know where a lot of folks stand after this week, especially in these particular 5 games.
Yeah, I mean, we will have cleared the first half of the season. Most of these teams will have 4 or 5 games under their belt by midnight Friday night, and I think we'll have a pretty good feel for a lot of these folks. And, as we talked to Charlie Lansdale a couple of segments ago, the back half of some of these schedules is a lot more manageable than the front half. And so with some middle of the road success here early on, some of them might be getting ready to go on some runs here coming out of tomorrow night.
It's going to be fun to watch. Keep up again. MainStreetPreps.com, MainStreetMurray.com for full coverage of these games as well. You can follow along on Friday night, TriStar Friday Night Live with JP and Murphy and George Plaster, at SM_TN Sports, at MoPatton_Sports, and at Chris Yao 14 is where you can get live updates on Friday night from the games that we are covering. So when we come back, 5 more games to talk about. So stick around on Southern Middle Tennessee Sports Day, presented by Mid-Tennessee Bone & Joint. Back to the Lee Company studio after this. Mid-Tennessee Bone & Joint treats your orthopedic injuries and existing conditions. Our trained physicians will get you back in the game faster. Contact us at 931-381-2663 or www.mtbj.net.
Fast Stop Markets is a full-service, family-owned convenience store chain located in 14 locations throughout Middle and West Tennessee. For those in our listening area, you can find them in Columbia, Centerville, Lawrenceburg, Spring Hill, Dixon, and White Bluff.
Fast Stop partners with wholesale fuel brands like Shell, Marathon, and Exxon, delivering a consistent customer experience that is fast, friendly, and clean. If it's not already, it will soon become your go-to store to shop in town or on the road. Fast Stop Markets is proud to be keeping you moving in Tennessee.
Keep your home as comfortable as possible. If you have any issues with your air conditioner, electrical, or plumbing systems, call Lee Company. Our techs use visual findings and other technology tools to add transparency and clarity. You see what we see, whether we're in a crawl space or on the roof. We're here 24/7, so if you need us, call us. Lee Company. Call 931-548-4448 today or schedule your appointment at leecompany.com. That's leecompany.com.
Hey folks, while we take a quick break from the show, I want to tell you about our friends over at Custom Stone Handlers in downtown Columbia. Ned Rich and his team at Custom Stone Handlers believe in leadership. And outside of the military, our greatest leader building platform is sports. Custom Stone Handlers proudly encourages young people to get in the game. You can contact them today at 931-490-4990 or visit CustomStonehandlers.com. Mid-Tennessee Bone & Joint has been the official sports medicine provider for Maury County Schools for more than 40 years. We specialize in orthopedic injuries, and our Ortho Quick walk-in service lets you bypass the ER. Visit us online at www.mtbj.net.
Local sports talk you'll only find here. It's Southern Middle Tennessee Sports Today. Live from the Lee Company studio with the Hall of Famer Mo Patton, here's Chris Yao.
Welcome back into Southern Middle Tennessee Sports Today, presented by Mid-Tennessee Bone & Joint. We are live from the Lee Company studio and glad to be with you in this 5 o'clock hour, getting you ready for Friday Night Football, talking local high school football games here in the Southern Middle Tennessee region.
Why? Because that's what we do.
That's what we do. Nowhere will you find more comprehensive and complete coverage or more timely coverage of high school football in this region, because that's our goal. That's our entire goal. So MainStreetPreps.com, MainStreetMurray.com. Look for football coverage, news on Main Street Murray. That is hyper local to you here in Maury County, Columbia, Mount Pleasant, Spring Hill, Hampshire, including this week's front page. Got a little Hampshire action in there. Down in Culleoka. It's everywhere. We're everywhere, man.
You've been everywhere, man. You've been everywhere.
I have. I have. I've been to Scotts Hill, so I've pretty much been everywhere. And if I didn't go there, I went through it. Oh, man. So we got 5 games to cover. The game that I will be at this week, Nolensville, traveling to Columbia Central over at Lindsey Nelson Stadium. You can hear that game on our sister station, WKRM 103.7 FM. The Knights coming off a big loss last week against Ensworth, but it's Ensworth. Columbia Central also coming off a loss on the road at Green Hill.
And it's not Ensworth.
And Columbia Central definitely not Ensworth. Both teams.
Green Hill definitely not Ensworth.
Looking to find some footing in this region. I'm excited to see this one because Columbia Central really needs to get a win, but so does Nolensville.
I think you're looking at two teams that are going to be looking to make some sort of a statement Friday night because as we talked to Al Clark in the previous segment about Page, ranked number 4 in the state in 5A, it kind of feels like everybody else in this region is kind of chasing them and wanting to stay within range of them in terms of postseason opportunities. So,
this may be for a home playoff game.
Absolutely.
I think this is for a home playoff game. I mean, if in week 5 of the season, I am almost prepared to say the winner of this game will be hosting a playoff game. Now, whether they're 1 or 2, again, like you said, we're chasing Page, but Columbia Central really needs more this week out of Q Martin. After last week, he struggled a little bit to get anything going. But as we've talked earlier this week with some folks in Columbia, appears that Luke Usselton is getting a little more comfortable in that quarterback spot.
Threw for 144 yards in that loss at Green Hill, completed 9 passes, I think. But as much as you need more out of Q Martin needs room to run as well. And from all indications, the offensive line underperformed Friday night. That needs to be corrected in a hurry.
Yeah, no question. Spring Hill hosting Lincoln County. Somebody's got to win. Might as well be Spring Hill. Both teams winless coming into this one.
And have not looked especially sharp in getting there. Although Spring Hill lost 23-16 last week to traditionally a pretty good Lewis County team. So I would imagine they will take some positive out of that 1 touchdown loss there. The Raiders 0-3, having missed a game in week 2 against Summit, which might not have been such a bad thing.
Keeps you healthy anyway. So Connor Swan, quarterback for Spring Hill, 35 of 59. That's around 58%. That's pretty solid. 5 touchdowns. And he's thrown 3 picks, but when he gets some time, he can make some pretty good throws.
Also, last week, Blaze Martin, familiar name around Spring Hill, 5 of 5 for 75 yards and a touchdown. So
you'll take that every time. You'll take 100% completion rate anytime.
If you can throw it 5 times and it never touch the ground, that's a good thing. So
that seems good.
It will be interesting to see which of those guys gets the bulk of the snaps at quarterback on Friday night against the Lincoln County team that has really just struggled. They've lost 4 games by an average of 42.5 points. That means some of their games they've lost by more than that.
Yeah, it's at least that. So this is an opportunity for Spring Hill.
It absolutely is.
This is an opportunity. You got to take advantage of those when you get them because they don't come around in this region very often.
Yeah.
So Columbia Academy, as we talked earlier, hosting number 1 Donaldson Christian. This is a game where you just hope you don't have the same thing happen that happened last week, and that is you get a bunch of injuries.
Yeah, I mean,
you just want to stay healthy.
Columbia Academy in their home opener, as we discussed with Charlie Lansdale earlier in the show, this is a tough challenge. I mean, you'd like to really go out and announce your presence with authority, but again, Donaldson Christian's number 1 in the state. They're 4-0, and as Charlie Lansdale said, they just do everything right. The quarterback Bradford Gaines threw for 228 yards and 4 touchdowns last week. Their running back Ashton Jones rushed for 157 yards. So
I was going to say it's interesting that they threw for that many yards because they don't really like to throw it that much.
7 of 10.
Yeah, they don't throw it that much.
But when they do,
it's efficiency. Columbia Academy is going to try to force them to throw it a little bit more. They've gone to a little different up front, defensive front this week. So we'll see if that plays a part in helping that defense out making some tackles. They just got to make tackles in space. When you're out there and you're in position, and you get a chance to make the tackle at the line of scrimmage, you got to do it. That's just the way it is. I mean, you can't let guys run through tackles when there's only one other guy out there to make a play. So we'll see if the Bulldogs can get a little better in the tackling area. Independence hosting the flagship. The Admirals. Franklin still looking for win number 1 in Alex Melton's young career as a head coach. Don't think he's going to have an easy time over at Independence against Scotts Blade.
I don't believe he is. I mean, again, we've talked about this Independence offense, and even in their 1-3 start, they've got a quarterback who is on the cusp of 1,000 yards passing already. You've got one receiver who's got 400-plus receiving yards, and Trey Hartwell is starting to make more of an impact. Had 132 yards and a touchdown in the loss at Pope Prep last week. So this may not be a good place for the Admirals, as, like you said, they look for that first win.
When you are talking about Independence, you know their offense is going to find itself at some point. Every loss that the Eagles have taken thus far, as we've talked about earlier, does nothing to derail them from everything they want to do.
The losses are to CPA, Lipscomb, and again to Pope Prep, all 3 of which are ranked in the Division II Associated Press polls. Lipscomb is number 1 in Class 2A, CPA is number 2, and Pope Prep is number 3 in Class 3. So,
yeah, it's tough opponents. So I'll be interested to see how much Independence leans on the run game to open up Joe Cummings and give him some opportunities. And, of course, if they can use Ty Lockwood and utilize the tight end, they need to.
It'll be interesting. The Admirals, there could be a boat involved in this ballgame.
Speaking of that, I'm sorry, Mo, but CCCHS headed to the southernmost point in Williamson County to Summit, where they unveiled a beautiful new scoreboard, including signage of their 2020 Class 5A state championship last week.
And lit it up.
And they certainly did. They lit it up. And I don't think the offense is slowing down anytime soon.
We got Destin Wade and you don't.
I mean, I don't really know. And here's the thing is, it's not just Destin Wade.
No,
They've got
no, it's not.
so much more.
It's really not. I mean, Dominic Hollis.
It's unfair.
We talk about Brady Pierce a lot for good reason. There are a lot of pieces out there. That offensive line is doing a great job, but somebody has to take advantage of all that, and it's number 1 the biggest part of the time.
I think you have to realize that Destin Wade most of the time is just taking what the defense gives him, whether it's throwing or running. And the fact that he's able to make that discernment so quickly is his superpower. And Centennial, there has been a 0 on the board in every Centennial game this year. Whether they were pitching the shutout or they were getting shut out, I'll be interested to see if that trend continues.
Well, if it does,
it won't be good for the Cougars.
Because Summit's going to score.
No, Summit's definitely going to score.
Yeah.
And that 7-6A region is quickly turning into a 2-team race. We'll see. I mean, obviously Independence is 1-0, and they'll continue that, obviously, on Friday night against Franklin. But the 3 teams that are really in this thing, it's Indy, Summit, and Ravenwood right now. And of course, you got Battle of the Woods this week, Ravenwood and Brentwood. Be interested to see how that turns out, especially now that Miles Pollard is playing. So,
yeah.
kind of went off the rails there. My bad.
My TV 30 made a good call because on Friday, October 1st, Ravenwood at Summit is their Friday night rivals game.
Good. That reminds me, I'm not available to work at Summit on October 1st. Sorry.
Yeah.
I apologize. I will not be there. I hate TV games. unless both teams are running it 89 to 92% of the time, then I don't want to be a part of any TV games. I'm just saying. So anyway, keep up with us. You can hear that Summit game right here on 101.7 FM. Mike Epley and Matt Rogers. I guess Matt Rogers will be back from Louisville by then on the call. And should be fun. Should be good. Good radio with Mike Epley. It's never bad radio with Mike Epley. Did you see there was a guy who said that he couldn't go back to Walgreens now because when he got his second COVID vaccine shot, he did his best Mike Keith impression. Vaxxed. Oh,
no,
man.
I missed that.
I thought that was fantastic. I thought, that is a banishment that I will take gladly if I got a chance to do that.
Well, I mean, as many Walgreens as there are.
Yeah, I mean, it's one on every other corner, right?
Yeah, I think you'll be okay.
Oh, man. I'm excited for Friday night. Again, I will be at Columbia Central Nolensville. You can follow me, Chris Yao 14, and at SM_TN Sports for coverage of that one. You can follow Mo at MoPatton_sports for live coverage of Lincoln County and Spring Hill. We will do our best to keep you updated, but when we can't, JP can. JP will be on Main Street Radio and visiting with, giving you scores. He's on the scoreboard, but Murphy Fair and George Plaster and all of our friends at Main Street Preps keep you updated throughout the night. The link to that we'll tweet that out. We'll tweet out the link so you guys can follow along. Put your AirPods in, put your earbuds in, whatever on Friday night. Listen to those guys while they keep you updated across the state, and of course follow us for local updates as well. When we come back, Chris and Mo give you their predictions. And
Chris and Mo, you going third person on us now?
Please refer to me as Coach Prime. We'll be back on Southern Middle Tennessee Sports Day, presented by Mid-Tennessee Bone and Joint. Who's going to win? We'll tell you right after this. Mid-Tennessee Bone and Joint treats your orthopedic injuries and existing conditions. Our trained physicians will get you back in the game faster. Contact us at 931-381-2663 or www.mtbj.net.
Fast Stop Markets is a full-service, family-owned convenience store chain located in 14 locations throughout Middle and West Tennessee. For those in our listening area, you can find them in Columbia, Centerville, Lawrenceburg, Spring Hill, Dixon, and White Bluff.
Fast Stop partners with wholesale fuel brands like Shell, Marathon, and Exxon, delivering a consistent customer experience that is fast, friendly, and clean. If it's not already, it will soon become your go-to store to shop in town or on the road. Fast Stop Markets is proud to be keeping you moving in Tennessee.
Keep your home as comfortable as possible. If you have any issues with your air conditioner, electrical, or plumbing systems, call Lee Company. Our techs use visual findings and other technology tools to add transparency and clarity. You see what we see, whether we're in a crawl space or on the roof. We're here 24/7, so if you need us, call us. Lee Company. Call 931-548-4448 today or schedule your appointment at leecompany.com. That's leecompany.com.
Hey folks, while we take a quick break from the show, I want to tell you about our friends over at Custom Stone Handlers in downtown Columbia. Ned Rich and his team at Custom Stone Handlers believe in leadership. And outside of the military, our greatest leader building platform is sports. Custom Stone Handlers proudly encourages young people to get in the game. You can contact them today at 931-490-4990 or visit CustomStonehandlers.com. Mid-Tennessee Bone & Joint has been the official sports medicine provider for Maury County Schools for more than 40 years. We specialize in orthopedic injuries, and our Ortho Quick walk-in service lets you bypass the ER. Visit us online at www.mtbj.net.
Sports talk show you've always wanted. It's Southern Middle Tennessee Sports Today. From preps to pros. Live from the Lee Company studio. With the Hall of Famer Mo Patton, here's Chris Yao.
From preps to pros is exactly right. And if you are looking for pro football or college football coverage, join us tomorrow 4 to 6 as we break down the weekend's college and Titans game. We might talk a little bit about some other NFL, but probably not too much. Local colleges, Tennessee Tech, Martin, Austin P. Big night for them this weekend. Should be fun. We'll get to all of those. Tennessee State.
Sounds as if next week might be bigger for Austin P than this weekend.
It certainly does. If you missed the top stories today, go back and listen to that on the podcast because, well, interesting stuff coming for the Governors. We are ready to talk high school football picks. Last week we went 8-3, Mo.
We did. It was one of those show your work type things. I was a little disappointed in one of the picks that I missed, but it is what it is.
I was disappointed in a couple of picks, unfortunately, and of course, on Friday, we learned that there were some folks who wouldn't be playing for Columbia Academy that we thought might be playing, and I really wanted to amend that pick, but didn't get a chance to. That's all right. We just talked about these 5 games. We're going to go bottom to top, and we'll talk about Centennial at Summit. And I don't think this is going to take long to talk about, is it?
There's just really not a whole lot to say. Centennial is, 3-1? They're 3-1, but, they've beaten the people they're supposed to beat. They're not supposed to be Summit.
There you go. And here's the thing about that is Summit doesn't typically lose to teams, at least not since I've been here in 2017. They've not lost to anybody that they shouldn't have lost, that they should have lost to, or shouldn't have lost to.
Right.
So that's one of the things that Brian Coleman has brought to this program is consistency. And Summit, the only question for me is at what point does the clock start running? And that's not a knock on Centennial. That's just how good this Summit team really is.
Right.
So Summit, Mo and Chris. Franklin at Independence, this could be similar.
I'd be a little shocked if it's not similar.
Again,
especially because I think Independence is going to bring a little bit more of an edge to this ball game than perhaps Summit does, just because in the 3 losses that Independence has taken, they've been pretty decisive.
Yeah, the loss last week was that there was a time in the third quarter where it was a touchdown game. So this is an Independence team that we saw against Centennial and at times last week that can score a lot of points. That being said, Alex Melton has played this Independence team.
He's got some familiarity with them.
But he wasn't real successful with them last year either, even at Summit. Indy scored 46 points or 47 points against them last year, and he doesn't have the athletes at Franklin that he had at Summit. So therefore, I don't see this going Jackson Campbell's not walking through that door, but Joe Cummings and Trey Hartwell are pretty good. So I got an Independence, and I know you do too.
Yeah, right.
Number 1, Donaldson Christian at Columbia Academy. Again, same thing. Is just hope you get out without getting injured.
Listening to Charlie Lansdale earlier in the show, they feel like help is coming. You know, when Connor Rawson gets back and they can get him in at quarterback, they can move Bryant Baranek out to H, although Baranek in the last couple of games has played relatively well at quarterback.
Now that he's gotten his bearings back after not playing at all for a year.
And once he gets settled in, he gets to move again.
Yes, maybe.
But
I don't think Bryant Baranek's going to be making a lot of difference this week against the Wildcats.
Wildcats.
Thought so.
Yeah.
Making sure. With Big Joe Dubin's kid coming to town. So, Donaldson Christian, I assume. All right, Mo. Lincoln County at Spring Hill, the game you're going to be at.
At the risk of declaring a Week 5 ball game a must-win ball game, I really feel like Spring Hill has to win this ball game. And I think they're going to find a way to do so. I just think they're going to be more athletic than Lincoln County in some places, and they're going to find a way to take advantage of it.
I completely agree with you. This is probably going to be for... Is this for a playoff spot? No.
I don't know that this is necessarily for a playoff
Franklin
spot.
County, Lincoln County, and Spring Hill are going to be fighting for that 4th playoff spot, we believe. You got to get this one to have a chance.
But you got to win this one.
You got to have this one for a chance.
Right.
So I got Spring Hill in this one.
Yeah. Same.
All right. Columbia Central hosting Nolensville. This one ought to get interesting because this is what we just said, probably to host a playoff game.
Yeah, certainly to host one. And I feel like, and I don't know necessarily what I base it on, but I just think that this Columbia Central team is going to take that slap in the face from last week, or take last week as a slap in the face, and I think it's going to wake them up. And I think Nolensville may be in a bad place Friday night.
I don't. I think the Knights have everything that Green Hill had, and they may have a better running back. Samson Johnson's really good.
He is really good.
Columbia Central won this game the last 2 years. Mm-hmm. Nolensville's going to take that and use it. Knights get the win on Friday night. Cascade at Richland, the champions and the Raiders.
Nick Patterson said that he took my pick of Hickman County last week and used that as motivation for the Raiders. So I guess he can use this as motivation for the Raiders as well, because Cascade is a grinded out physical squad, and you know, if Richland can hold up to that for 48 minutes, then they're going to come out of here with a region victory. I'm just not sure they can.
That's why I think they will, is because Cascade not a big play type team, right? They want to grind it out just like Richland does. These two teams are going. It's going to be a matter of who's better up front. Richland's big. They are quick at the linebacker position, and it's every game in this region is a toss-up anyway. Mm-hmm. So I'm going with the home team. The Raiders get the win over the champions.
All right.
Summertown travels to face the Rockets. Forest should be fun.
Really?
Toss-ups.
Yeah. Like you said, every game in this region feels like a toss-up. And maybe I'm just a little enamored with the triplets for the Eagles. I just feel like they've got some playmaking ability that Forest will have a tough time with, particularly with Javen Edmiston. I think he's a matchup problem. And I think that will be the basis of the Eagles picking one up on the road.
I agree with you for all of those reasons. I do think that Colton Schaefer, Javen Edmiston, Anakin Johnson, those three guys right there. On offense especially, Javen Edmiston just gives you an extra
something.
He's got an X factor that nobody else has had against this team. So Eagles it is. Lawrence County at Pearl Cone at Hunter's Lane.
Yeah. I think Lawrence County is going to see some speed and some physicality in this ball game that they've not seen to this point. This is Pearl Cone, and no disrespect, it's not close.
I don't know about physicality that they haven't seen, because I think Montgomery Central has some physicality, but it's going to take a lot of something that Lawrence County doesn't have to offer.
Pearl Cone has beaten Cane Ridge, Montgomery Bell Academy, and Creekwood.
Pearl Cone could very well play for the Class 4A state title.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, Firebirds. Page at Franklin County. Franklin County's going to have to. They're going to also have some of the same struggles that Lawrence County will have, is in that they just don't have the number of athletes necessary to take care of this Page team.
You ask Al Clark what had to happen for Franklin County to win this ball game, and I'm sitting here thinking
COVID?
Jake McNamara and Colin Hurd have to get kidnapped.
Well, don't put any ideas in anybody's heads.
I don't want to encourage anyone to do anything illegal.
The bus is going to have to break down on the way, and they're not going to be able to get another one there. It have to be in a place where there's no cell phone service and nobody knows it's broke down.
Well, that's possible.
That's not. You're right. From Franklin to Franklin County it's possible to find some spots that ain't got any cell phone service. You're right.
Mm-hmm. Short of that, it's the Patriots.
I agree with you. Huntland at Wayne County. This is an interesting matchup. I think, based on last week and what Huntland was able to do defensively against Cascade, I think they got a chance to win this game, especially considering the unfortunate situation that Wayne County finds itself in without their running back.
I think Wayne County bounces back from not having their running back, Timmy Robbins, and takes care of business in this ballgame, especially at home. Yeah, again, as we talk, Waynesboro is a tough place to get to. Huntland is a tough place to get away from. That's a heck of a trip for a football game. And it's a pretty decent ball club once you get there. I like the host Wildcats.
It's a long trip. My friend Greg Sykes isn't going to like me. But I got the Hornets in this one.
I think, given the outcome of Greg Sykes' last ball game, he'll be okay.
He and I were certainly on good terms. All right, fast stop. Game of the week, Mount Pleasant at Loretto. This is going to be a ton of fun.
Big plays. Big plays. Mount Pleasant with Cooper back, with Strayhorn sharing time at quarterback. I think they have the opportunity to make some. Loretto is the only team that Mount Pleasant beat last year, which I'm sure Barry Daniel has reminded his team of all this week. But at the same time, I think Mount Pleasant takes some confidence out of that as well. I like the Tigers on the road.
I like the Tigers as well, and here's the reason. That defense is just fantastic. And Loretto, as we saw against Forest, can struggle against a good defense, especially a good defensive front. Yes, they have very good running backs, two very good ones. I think Mount Pleasant has more athletes on the offense, and I think they're going to be bigger and stronger up front on defense. Therefore, the Mount gets the win. All right, there you have it. Those are our picks. I'm 27-8 on the year. Mo 25-10 has plenty of opportunity to make a comeback as we have 3 games, 4, 3 or 4, 1, 2, 3. 3 games picked differently this week, so should be somebody's going to gain some ground. Either way, going to be a lot of fun. Again, keep us mainstreetpreps.com, mainstreetmurray.com, at ChrisYow14, at MoPatton_sports, and at SM_TN Sports. Have a great day, you guys. For Mo Patton and JP Plant, I'm Chris Yow. Stay cool, Columbia.